Welcome back, everybody, to our Wednesday Energy Talk. My name is Jona Bryndis from transCODES. I'm a professional energy coach and spiritual counselor. These collective energies that are coming in here in this week, following the next week, so the next few weeks, are very strong. It's seasonal. That's around the solstice every year, so twice a year. We have extremely intense energies coming in, and I want to help you out a little bit to understand what this outer weather condition, this energetic weather condition is asking you to focus on. So first of all, it's important to note that solstice energies have to do with masculine and feminine. They have to do with the polarities in us, with the inner pro and con, if you will. And that means that during these times, so the summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere, on the 21st of June, where we have our free true self, connect with your true self energy healing session, by the way. And our next energy talk will be in context with that session. So if you want to be part of this energy session and then the energy talk afterwards, then come an hour earlier, right? So I'll send out a notification. You can already RSVP on my website. So next week is the summer solstice here in the northern hemisphere, winter solstice in the southern hemisphere. And for the northern hemisphere, it's the time where the divine masculine takes over the reign, which means it's the part in us that is more directed, that is more goal-oriented, that is more action-oriented, that is more in the physical, if you will, like results, getting things done. In the northern hemisphere, it's the opposite. It's the arrival of the dominance, if you will, of the divine feminine energies, which is more going inward, re-evaluating, giving space to new ideas, giving space for healing, for recuperation. And in these 2 weeks that we are in right now, it's kind of like a back and forth within ourselves. So no matter what I say right now will apply to you, regardless of whether you're northern or southern hemisphere, because we're going in and out. So one of the things that people report about the most right now, and I don't know if this applies to you as well, is a form of tiredness. Like just really feeling more tired than usual, and perhaps also having difficulties with sleeping. Who of you has this problem right now that you're just feeling somehow, I don't want to say drained, it's not necessarily a negative feeling, it's just a physical tiredness. That's quite a few of you. So understand that this isn't just you. This isn't just you. This has to do with these energies. They're very intense right now. And then Monday, during our, online meditation, but it turned out to be an energy talk as well, we talked about how the body is forced, to house, to metabolize these faster vibratory energies, and that affects our nervous system. It affects our overall life force, if you will. And it's very important during this time that you don't go into what I call the summer sleep. So right now, the trick is to manage your energies in a way that you follow your body's need for rest, but not overindulge in it. It's all about finding the balance. So in these 2 weeks where we're going back and forth, it's like a seesaw. You kind of have to focus on finding the middle ground here. So taking naps, for example, or mini meditations, 5-minute, 20-minute mini meditations. For some of you who are trained, many of you here in the Sacred Self-Healing community have been doing meditations as part of the program, the 24-step program, so regularly that you can get yourself into this more balanced place within a few minutes. just through like I am breathing, yeah, where you just consciously pull in all the excess mental energies, all the excess emotional energies, and pull it into your heart, breathe through it, and release it sideways. Anybody regularly practicing this super effective self-clearing method? Yeah, so if you are in training, and that's really kind of like the trick with the 24-step Sacred Self-Healing program, is that you condition your body to this state, to this deeper theta state. Yeah, that's why all the meditations have the theta metronome in it, which puts you into a slower brain frequency that allows your nervous system to calm down and your vagus nerve, yeah, to activate. The vagus nerve is one of the most important parts of our nervous system, highly underrated if you're asking me, because it controls not just say muscle tension, but it also controls the tension in your organs and your body temperature, etc. So big tip for you guys. Yeah, if you can't take a nap, let's say because you're at work, then just take 5 minutes, close your eyes and do just really conscious I am breathing to activate this vagus nerve in you. Yeah, and that's then going to regulate all the other things. But obviously, if there's bigger issues that you're dealing with, such as these fast and furious energies that I predicted for June. Anybody experiencing fast and furious, just like high drama, sudden things, but also sudden resolutions? It's just coming in like bam, and then it's going to go again. And just, it's like keeping you on your toes. Anybody, like I have this like literally every day right now, and I'm laughing about it. The cool thing is, and I don't know if you can experience this too, some of you shared last week, is that when you have a really good relationship with your higher self, yeah, you recognize that you can trust. And in that moment where you consciously choose to trust, and I'm not talking about just avoiding or escaping reality. I'm talking about like, whoa, what is this now? Yeah, this is like out of the blue. It's something that is forcing all my attention to this. Yeah. And instead of going into the drama or the anxiousness that often comes with these unknowns, yeah, go into trust and say, okay, I got this. Yeah. Or maybe more like, okay, you and I, higher self, yeah, you and I, we've got this together. I trust you. Yeah, there's at least 3 examples that I can give you just from the last week where I had a almost tragedy. Yeah, or like I mean, there were some tragedies that happened here in my life, yeah, in my personal life and right around me, but they all sort of had a twist to them. They all turned out to open up something new. And this is this quality of this solstice energy, guys. It has to do with, I called it shift change. Yeah, or like like the shifts at work, where the morning shift leaves and the evening shifts come in. It's like, yes, you have to pass on what is in charge. And as you're doing this, yeah, like even in the small things, you recognize that there are new options, new ways of doing things. Perhaps also you recognize also that you can delegate things. Yeah, that it's not the end of the world if you cannot fully control something. But seen from a larger perspective, obviously this shift change means that there are things that you have to deal with that challenge you, that you have to let go. Yeah. We had a really long talk about letting go in the last 2 weeks here in our online meditation groups. Letting go is not just painful. Letting go often, and this is the cool thing when you're just in your higher self, shows you where you or a part of you or part of your perspective, like how you think about something, how you judge something, or how you feel about something, was the limitation. And as you're letting go of something, sometimes it's just a belief, sometimes it's a way how you feel about things. You recontextualize and say, it's actually not a bad thing. Yeah. How that was the limitation. So I want to remind you guys that there is a very, very positive side. Yeah. One that drives us into growth, yeah, that comes in through letting go. All spiritual schools and religions and practices focus around letting go for a reason, yeah, because there is a challenge for our ego that arises when we recognize that there's something that either needs to be removed or that needs to be stopped, or we have to talk about something, yeah, because let's say it doesn't work out with what I need or what I want. It doesn't match up with my integrity. It just simply doesn't work anymore. It is a challenge for most of us to talk about these things. And as we are taking on this challenge and say, this got to go, or this doesn't work for me anymore, or this doesn't work for me anymore in this way, yeah, we are learning to grow. This is the energy that is coming in right now. And the interesting part about this year's solstice energies, guys, is that it has a lot to do with self-selection. It has to do with making conscious choices from within your own impulse. So there's an overall transformation going on that we all go through, and part of that is the higher frequency of the planet and the cosmic rays, and that those are all physical aspects of those energies. But then there's an inner energy here, and that comes with an impulse. And that wants to be followed right now. Why is that? How is that making us mature? How is that making us grow? I can tell you how. In the evolution of humans, there's been a time, and we all go through this time in our childhood, where we cannot really make choices for ourselves, where we cannot really feel what is needed, what we need to survive, what we need to have good conditions. Yeah, we're powerless to a degree, yeah, up until a certain age. But if we look at human evolution as a whole, yeah, and the spiritual component of that, which means that there was a long time, many, many thousands of years, many millennia, where humans just received orders, or where they had, tablets with rules, yeah, the Ten Commandments, for example, to tell them what's right and wrong. And this is the big transformation now. The big transformation that is happening is that being told what to do, or what is right and wrong, gotta go. Because we are moving out of this teenage stage, yeah, into a more mature and adult spiritual age now. It's a different epoch, yeah, where it's important that we follow this inner impulse and do it, whatever it is that we think needs to be done, from within ourselves. Yeah, remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about those two main questions in our life that can fill our life with purpose. What do I want to create for myself, out of myself, and what do I want to create for the world? And that's now becoming a central question for all of us. Not just because we feel empty or bored or, purposeless, because we can. Because we are growing up. And that means we have to step into our own soul's self-authority, into the sovereignty, yeah, of who we truly are. And that requires us to understand ourselves as more than just a physical ego self. We have to recognize that there is a purpose to all of us being here in 3D, and that purpose, different from this whole karma discussion, was self-chosen. It was chosen by our higher self to allow us to go through a certain experience, through these challenges, these ego challenges, yeah, so that we can grow as a soul self. And last time we also talked about how important it is to recognize that there's a two-way energy flow between ourselves, our ego selves here in 3D, and our higher self, yeah, our soul self, if you will. There's a two-way aspect to that. So whenever we're not following that impulse, we have a lot of conflicts. We have a lot of inner back and forth. And so a simple way for you to recognize whether you are dealing with an ego problem or an ego impulse or a higher self impulse is this. Whenever you have an inner conflict, you know that's coming from your ego. Whenever you feel a challenge, where you have a choice, that's coming from your higher self. Because challenges make you grow. Conflicts lower your energy and typically draw you into your ego's way of coping, avoiding, ruminating, wearing yourself out for nothing, freezing, or fighting. Okay, let me repeat this. Challenges ask you to grow. Inner conflicts lower your energy and put you into an ego state. And with that, limit the options that you can see. Now, let's be fair. What about you have an impulse to do something that's a big challenge? And you recognize the importance of it, say you can feel it in your bones. But you start developing an inner conflict around this. Anybody ever had this? I feel like I should do this. I really feel called to do this, or I should get a dog, or I should change my life, or I should move to a different country. And then you end up with this inner conflict around it. Anybody ever had an inner conflict around something that you knew would lead you to growth, but you just couldn't get yourself to do it, to doing it? So what do you think you're dealing with now? What do you think you're dealing with? Who's able to pinpoint that? Yeah, you're dealing with your ego, that's true, but we want to go a little deeper here. You know, when we just call things like good, bad, ego, soul self, we're not really understanding it. Because ego isn't bad. It's just a immature version of you. It's best to be understood like an inner toddler or young child. You feel an impulse. Anybody ever felt an impulse that's coming from your soul or from your higher self? It's hard to explain, but it's when you get it, you know it. Anybody ever had that? Maybe around your relationship, maybe around your job, maybe around where you want to live, or whom you want to live with. You know, something that it's you can't spell it out, but it's very strong for most of us, also very visceral. You can feel it in your body. Yes, Annetta, you're raising your hand. You know, I'm sure that you can raise your hand because it was unmistakable for you. There's a calling somehow, but you just can't figure it out how to do this. And then you end up in a conflict. Or you get distracted, or you say, nah, that's not for me, that's only for others, or I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve that, or I can't do it because I don't have any money, or things like that. Those are conflicts. Yeah, so whenever you tell yourself that you can't follow an inner impulse because ... you fill in the blanks, you're having an inner conflict. And inner conflicts are extremely draining energetically. They pull all your life force energy and your higher self energy into your ego. And what is the ego's paradigm? The ego's paradigm is not growth. You know this. The ego's paradigm is maintaining things, keeping things the way they are, even if they're completely toxic or bad for you. Yeah. So your ego's paradigm is all forms of survival. And your ego's way of doing that is through fight, flight, or freeze, because that is basically the only options. It's actually only two. It's the fight or the flight, and then the freeze is the one in the middle. Very, very common for those who are in constant conflicts. They can't do either, so they just don't do anything. Now, if you put the mind control and all the bombardment that we have going on in our society nowadays, which is why I often call our society being actually toxic for growth, yeah, you can also see that it's very difficult to stay on focus. So distraction plays a big role in our inner confliction. Yeah. But whenever you are finding yourself in avoiding something, in running away from something, even in rebelling against something or complaining about something, yeah, then you're in your ego. And to close the cycle now, yeah, how do I overcome this? Well, Annette, by letting go, of the conflict. Let the conflict go. Stop resisting. Find out what it is that you're resisting. Anybody ever been in a situation where you maybe meet someone or you have a conversation with someone and something the other person says really, really rubs you the wrong way? And you find yourself in this change in you, this transformation in you, where you either go into this like really defensive and maybe even a little bit aggressive reaction to it, or you find yourself in a reaction where you just feel frozen, your throat closes up and you can't say a word and you just like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Or you get so scared that you walk away or that you are unable to even continue this conversation. You've been in those situations before, yeah. That's when you're in your ego. That's the challenge. That's what you need to investigate and work with and let go. Fighting, rebelling, attacking, running away, avoiding, checking out, and just freezing and not doing anything, believing that if you don't do anything, you can't make a mistake. These are ego paradigms, guys. Those are these famous coping mechanisms that we always talk about and that the Sacred Self-Healing Program works with. Find out where your resistance is. Find out what it is that your ego is resisting and make a conscious effort to let that go. Yeah, this person rubs me the wrong way because the way they talked to me was disrespectful, or they said something that made me insecure about perhaps, not being good enough, not being able to live up to the task, or not being, like not fitting in. All right, what are you resisting? Okay, you're resisting this feeling, yeah, that you may not be good enough or that you may not belong there. Now go a step further. It's not the person, yeah, that you need to work with. It's the feeling within you. Why is this such a big deal for you? Hmm? Yeah, nobody likes feeling that way. But how come you let that dominate your reactions, your responses? If this is something that happens continually, if it's the same person over and over again, anybody has these people in their life, partners, co-workers, sometimes even children, who treat you with disrespect, who say things to you that really rub you the wrong way, family members. The conflict is that it's really not acceptable for you, but that you're not doing anything about it. That's what you're resisting. You're resisting the opportunity to do something about it and to change it. Resisting change. So put all this together, guys. It's very important to understand how ego works, yeah, and how these things that hold you back and that make it hard for you to recognize when something isn't good for you. And, basically what clouds your perception, even being able to discern truth, yeah, and how your higher self prompting works and how it actually tries to motivate you to follow on these impulses. Because as you starting to follow on these impulses, yeah, and you begin to see that there are more options than the ego thought there were, you're beginning to muster higher vibratory solutions in your life. And as that happens more and more and more, you then start trusting in that more. So someone like me who's been doing this, has been practicing this for like 25, 30 years, okay, to trust in my inner higher self's guidance, okay, I don't resist anything anymore. Of course, I have likes and dislikes, yeah, and there were some things this week that happened where I'm like, I don't want this to happen. But I don't get that confused. I understand it's the part of me that doesn't want change that's reacting that way. But I immediately recognize, okay, this is something that's asking me to become more mature now. Yeah, this is a challenge that is asking me to grow. Yeah, so instead of resisting the change, I am now trying to find new ways, new solutions. And immediately something new sets in. So that's the trick. And it's difficult in the beginning because in the beginning we don't have enough trust in us to know whether or not it works. And I know some of you are sitting right on that cusp where you know it works, but you don't quite trust in it yet. You know what to do, but you just can't muster the courage to finally do it. And those of you who know me for a little longer, you know what I'm going to say next. Do it anyway. If it comes from your heart, if it is something that leads you to the more creative, the betterment in your life, the more beautiful, the more love expressing, the more truthful aspects in your life, just do it. That's what self-selection means. Nobody is going to do it for you. Any credit unclaimed, any energy unclaimed, any need unclaimed will be taken by something or somebody else. Very important to understand. So this is it for our Wednesday energy talk here. Just real quick, come to our free Connect with Your True Self energy healing session where you can experience all that from within yourself with an energy talk right after. We call the energy talk right after the True Self session True Self talk. All right, same thing, really. But we just went through an inner experience together and there we discussed this. Also, heads up for next week. Yeah, in order to help you guys deal with these fast and furious energies, I have now put a special energy club fee, training fee into my shop. The Energy Training Club allows you to practice these things, have energy self-healing sessions, unlimited for 30 days. Yeah, and I get a special rate there for you, especially if you're in the Sacred Self-Healing program. You're going to love it. It's really inexpensive, and that allows you to participate in our marathons, in our energetic tune-up session, in our ongoing transmissions that you see on the energy calendar. Any questions? Any comments? I see your hearts. Well, this video is going to be on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, along with, I don't know, 500 or 800 other videos. Continue commenting in the comment section and let others know, yeah, how you feel. Let them know that they're not alone. I love you guys. Stay conscious. Bye-bye.